Imagine walking into a room and sensing lies, hidden anger, silent sorrow, while everyone else remains unaware. This sensitivity can feel like a burden, yet it is also a doorway to understanding deeper truths. How often have you noticed what others fail to see? Perhaps you've walked into a meeting and immediately felt tension before anyone spoke. Maybe you've sensed sadness or resentment in a friend who smiled but hid pain underneath. I recall a patient from 1913, a woman who could read the emotional atmosphere in any space. Her insights were accurate, yet society feared her. She understood things invisible to others, and that perception made her both powerful and isolated. Today, this might look like feeling collective unease online before anyone else notices, or sensing hidden motives at work. Reflect. When have you sensed truths invisible to others? Pause and think. How often has your perception been ignored or misunderstood? Consider how this sensitivity has shaped your own life. Are there moments you felt different, alone, or exhausted because of what you could perceive that others missed? Recognizing these moments is the first step to understanding your gift. Differentiated perception allows one to perceive subtle gestures, hidden emotions, and unconscious patterns that others miss. It is the ability to feel beneath the surface, to notice what most ignore. Participation mystique occurs when you absorb so much of another person's unconscious content that it becomes difficult to tell what belongs to you. Perhaps after a conversation, you feel drained, anxious, or unusually joyful, emotions that aren't yours. Do you notice this after interacting with colleagues, friends, or even scrolling social media? Pause and ask yourself, which of these experiences mirrors your own life? This awareness is the first step toward transforming sensitivity from a burden into a gift. Recognizing where your emotions end and others begin allows you to establish healthy boundaries and prevent emotional exhaustion. Consider, how often do you retreat from people or situations because their energy feels overwhelming? This pattern is common among highly sensitive individuals and intuitive perceivers. Awareness brings choice. There are 4 patterns of differentiated perception. First, feeling intuitive, sensing others' emotions as your own. Imagine a colleague crying, and suddenly you feel her sadness in your chest, unsure whether it's yours or hers. Where in your life do you carry the emotions of others? How often do you notice yourself reacting to moods that don't originate from you? Feeling intuitives are deeply empathetic, but must learn to distinguish between borrowed emotions and their own. Reflect. Next time you feel a sudden surge of sadness or anxiety, pause. Ask yourself, is this truly mine, or have I absorbed it from someone else? Feeling intuitives often need daily practices to discharge absorbed emotions, whether through journaling, meditation, or physical activity, to remain centered. Awareness, coupled with consistent practice, transforms empathy into power. Second, thinking intuitive, perceiving patterns and predicting outcomes instinctively. Perhaps you have foreseen a friend's relationship collapse months before anyone else noticed, or sensed that a project at work would fail despite logical evidence. Thinking intuitives often connect dots that others cannot, seeing the invisible threads that link events and behaviors. Reflect. How often do subtle cues guide your intuition? How can you trust your insights while remaining grounded? Being a thinking intuitive requires patience and practice. You must learn to differentiate accurate perceptions from assumptions and to share insights responsibly. Over time, this perception can be refined and used consciously to navigate complex social environments. Consider, have you ever tried to warn someone about something they didn't perceive? How did you manage your insight without causing conflict or alarm? Third, sensation intuitive, sensing physical manifestations of another's psychological state. You may touch a friend and feel the heaviness of hidden despair, or notice subtle tension in someone's body language. These sensations alert you to underlying emotional currents invisible to others. What bodily sensations indicate the inner states of those around you? How often do you rely on this physical intuition in your daily life? Sensation. Intuitives must learn to honor their sensitivity while protecting their own well-being. Absorbing others' burdens without boundaries can quickly lead to exhaustion. Fourth, pure intuitive. Receiving insights or information that are overwhelming, difficult to organize or communicate. You may know many truths at once, but struggle to articulate them. This pattern can feel chaotic or isolating. How often do you have a deep understanding that others cannot follow? Pure intuitives must develop methods to structure and share their insights without becoming frustrated or withdrawn. Journaling, mind mapping, and gradual revelation are crucial tools. Reflect. What practices could help you translate perception into wisdom rather than confusion? Awareness and structure transform overwhelming insight into actionable understanding. These abilities carry real dangers. First, disruption of the collective unconscious. Revealing truths too soon can destabilize a group or social environment. Second, psychological isolation. Seeing clearly while others cannot makes you feel like an island of awareness. Third, dissolution of identity. Constant absorption of others' unconscious content can erode your sense of self. Pause and reflect. Which of these dangers resonates with your own experience? Understanding the risks is not meant to frighten you, but to teach you how to navigate your gift safely. Being aware of the dangers allows you to establish healthy practices and boundaries. There are ways to transform this sensitivity into a gift. Step 1. Recognition and differentiation. Spend time in solitude, journaling your emotional responses. Ask yourself, is this mine or borrowed from another? Step 2. Shadow integration. Notice traits in others that irritate you and explore whether they exist within you. This practice allows understanding without judgment, revealing parts of yourself previously unseen. Reflection. How does observing without reacting change your experience? Awareness alone begins the transformation. Journaling daily or reflecting quietly can enhance clarity and reinforce personal boundaries. Step 3. Conscious participation and containers. Mentally hold the emotions of others temporarily, clearly marking them as external. Step 4. Gradual revelation. Share insights slowly, offering them as understanding rather than criticism. Reflect. How can you express your perception without destabilizing yourself or others? Practice patience and intentionality, noticing the difference between insight and intrusion. These practices allow you to engage with the world without becoming overwhelmed, turning sensitivity into conscious contribution rather than a source of stress. In our age of social media, collective shadows are instantly visible. Highly sensitive individuals feel this overload, the outrage, anxiety, and tension before others. It is essential to avoid identifying entirely with your gift, to retreat when needed, and to help consciously without losing yourself. Your perception is a gift. Integration does not mean withdrawal. It is the conscious contribution of insight, respecting boundaries, and acting with wisdom. Reflect. How can you turn your ability to see too much into a source of insight and care for yourself and others? Differentiate, integrate, participate without losing yourself. Let's take a moment to reflect on everything we've explored. You now understand the 4 patterns of differentiated perception: feeling, thinking, sensation, and pure intuitive. Each comes with its own gifts and challenges. You've learned about the 3 main dangers: disrupting the collective unconscious, psychological isolation, and identity dissolution. Most importantly, you've seen the steps to transform sensitivity into power: recognition and differentiation, shadow integration, conscious containers, and gradual revelation. These practices allow you to honor your gift without being overwhelmed by it. Remember, your ability to perceive deeply is not a flaw. It is a doorway to understanding, empathy, and wisdom. Integration means contributing consciously, protecting your boundaries, and applying your insights with care. Take a moment now, reflect on which pattern resonates most with you, which danger you relate to, and what step you will take first to transform perception into conscious action. Differentiate, integrate, participate, and always honor yourself in the process.